Well, there is virtually nobody of substance really from the southeast that did not have the opportunity of interacting with Atiku Abubakar as a very senior custom officer, because he was closely related with many of our businessmen. And whenever you are invited to their homes or to a function organized by any one of them, you will see Atiku in attendance. So I'd met him in the early 80s, mid 80s, but we're not that close. We're just, interacting now and again, not that close. But when we came into the 1999 era, when he became vice president, I was originally of the APP. I was a foundation national secretary of the APP. And when we had some misunderstanding in the leadership of the APP, Saraki and MKO Ojukwu led the group that I belonged. And to that extent, with the 9 governors of the APP, who were basically supported by Saraki and our good selves, now had a working understanding with the PDP. So when the PDP won election and President Obasanjo, Vice President Atiku, we had some understanding. And that was how both Alhaji Mahmoud Waziri, who was the Foundation National Chairman of the APP, and my humble self, Foundation National Secretary of the APP, came into government. And I was put as an advisor to the NSA, and Mahmoud was special advisor to the president. Now, it was from that point that we established a relationship, a stronger, closer, brotherly relationship. Now, in 2001, Governor Mbadunuju, the governor of Anambra State, came to Abuja and met with President Obasanjo and pleaded with President Obasanjo that they needed me to join the PDP so as to bring some degree of respect and integrity to bear on the party in the state. President Obasanjo, in turn, called the National Secretary and the Chairman. Obulafo was National Secretary, Audobe was National Chairman, and said they should go and work out how I would formally join the PDP. And then now directed Governor Mbadunuju to the Vice President to inform him of the same. And the Vice President was very, very happy that he immediately followed up with the Chairman and the National Secretary. I became a member of the PDP. Of course, ran for the Senate. the primaries I did in the PDP. I ran unopposed. That was the only time, and the only time up to date. I ran my primaries unopposed. I ran my general election unopposed, up to date. So it was strange to the vice president, who was quite excited about all of this, that my mandate was stolen. My mandate was given to somebody who contested the governorship, who never even bought a form for the Senate. So it happened to a couple of us. In one of the Salah celebrations in 2003, those of us affected traveled to Yola to go visit with the Vice President Atiku Abubakar, GCON. And after we had the sumptuous lunch with him and all of that, I told him, this is our dilemma. And we've not been able to see the president to ask questions. And in any case, some of us have been part of this government. And it's shocking that we'll be treated that way. Anyway, he agreed to broker a meeting between the president and ourselves and all of that. And he did, as soon as he came back. He brokered the meeting. And for the first time, told the president, look, I, Chief Ben Obi, will fight this case. I will go to court. I will make sure that I recover my stolen mandate. Oh, the president said, oh, yes, go to court. Go to court. Needless to say that I got full support from the Vice President Atiku Abubakar going to court. You know, he encouraged me, supported me, because I had all my facts, everything, all the documents, everything. So it was a very clear case. And that case, of course, that was the first time that a politician went to court to recover his mandate. The first time in our history. I had 33 rulings. I won them all, 33. I had 9 judgments. I won them unanimously, 9 judgments. But as we progressed, and I got into the Senate after 2 years of them, manipulating me from one court to the other, from the magisterial court to the High Court to the Federal High Court to Court of Appeal to Supreme Court. That's what progressed. Anyway, I finally got sworn in on the 2nd of February 2005, as against 1st of June 2003. So, all the time, I had very serious encouragement from Atiku Abubakar. Atiku is a quintessential pan-Nigerian. He has friends across the country. He does not know a Yoruba man, an Igbo man, a Fulani man, Tiv man. Atiku is just at home with everybody. He mixes freely. And he helped a lot of people across the country to rise in the customs service. He also helped a lot of our businessmen, importers, in the customs. So people ran to him freely. People interacted with him freely. Don't forget, the issue of the 53 suitcases was the courageous nature of Atiku at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport.
Please, can you take us through that?
That was when they brought in 53 suitcases of some contraband of some sort. And he impounded them. Everybody was worried. Said, oh, where is this 53? Who is behind the 53 suitcases? And fingers were being pointed at the government. But Atiku professionally did his job and impounded those 53 suitcases. It was very historic at that time. And people thought that heavens would fall. No, he stood his ground. And those 53 suitcases were impounded. So as a customs officer, he was very professional.
What is the story? Now, we want to know behind these 63 suitcases. And
no, the common story was that it was brought in by the government. Now, everybody was saying that, well, since the government brought it in, that there's no way the commandant, the customs commandant of the airport will be courageous enough to impound those suitcases. But he did. And they were taken to the warehouse of the customs. And he addressed the press. And people were saying heavens will fall. Heaven never fell. Now, so as a customs officer, he was very professional. Then he veered into politics. He contested with Abiola and Kingibe in Jos. Right? And everybody had thought that by the political understanding between MKO Abiola and Sheikh Musa Yar'Adua, that the vice presidential slot was already sealed to go to Atiku Abubakar. But you know, 24 hours in politics is a long time. Unfortunately, it didn't go his way. It went to Kingibe, Babagana Kingibe. But he still supported MKO. When we came to this current dispensation that started in 1998, he contested as the governorship candidate with Boni Haruna as his deputy in Adamawa State. He won election. But because of his track record of being a realistic and practical Democrat, the leadership of the team Obasanjo, you know, the team Obasanjo at that time had those generals that you can refer to as legitimizers. They wanted somebody who was level-headed, who was a Democrat, so as to support a military man like Obasanjo to navigate the challenges of that time. And they all settled for Atiku Abubakar. Now, again as a Democrat, he was in fact the field marshal of the anti-third term movement. He was the vice president, he was the arrowhead. And we were the field operators. I don't think anybody can speak of that anti-third term struggle in the Senate anybody, I say that with all authority at my disposal, I do not think that anybody can speak authoritatively of the anti-torture movement in the Senate over and beyond my humble self. So it was the Vice President Atiku Abubakar who marshaled the other governors, from James Ibori to Tinubu to Ojukwu to Bafarawa, Kure, and Co. And then we held a meeting at the Naija State Governor's Lodge, where he himself, Atiku Abubakar, came there physically and addressed us, the National Assembly, both Senate and House of Reps. Said, we must not allow this to succeed. It will derail our democracy. So when you find the Vice President standing behind you firmly, my goodness, I said to myself, from day one that we started that movement, we were sure we had 1/3 number. So all we were doing day by day was a gradual increment in our membership until we were just over and above 2/3 before the final slaying of that third term effort on the 16th of May 2006. So you can see his democratic credentials. You don't have to go far. And when he had problems with President Obasanjo. He didn't go about creating demonstrations here, there, and yonder. No. He took his matter to the court. He went to the court to challenge his boss. And in all those cases, he won them all. That is his democratic credentials.
Okay, now that we are on his democratic credentials, can you take us through the 2003 episode? What happened when it was time for Obasanjo to come back for a second term? And what were the crises? What really happened at that time? And how was it resolved? What role did Atiku Abubakar play?
Well, you see, it's quite an interesting thing because I happen to know I was part of some of the discussions at that time when I said, look, well, I agreed that Obasanjo was going to do just one term. So now let us bring in Dr. Alex Ekweme. Then you, Atiku Abubakar, the Vice President, will run with Alex Ekweme. After which, you can now go back and run on it. Discussions went very far. Meetings were held there and yonder. So, because of his nature, when President Obasanjo finally found himself before his vice president, I was not there, but the report came of what happened, how he was able to plead with his vice president, what he did to appeal to the vice president. Okay, my boss cannot come and plead with me, and I will ignore him. Let me let go. The governors were rattled by that decision. They were calling, frantically here, there, and yonder, until he himself was able to persuade them to calm them down one by one. The only person they were unable to reach who went under was Governor James Ibori. The NSA now called me. Jaraguzo said, look, Chief, there's no way you will tell me you don't know where James is. Now, I want James immediately. It was like a command. I now got James and I said, look, the game is up. You just have to show up. Because now I'm the one that, this was what happened. And then they went back, ran together. The rest, they now say, is history. You saw what happened thereafter, you know. And like I said, as it started to happen, the vice president had to go to court to save his head.
Anyone. Now, what role did Atiku play, His Excellency Odumegwu Emeka Ojukwu?
Yes, you know, in 2000, Dimchukwu Emeka Ojukwu was making frantic efforts to come and see President Obasanjo to make a case, very strong case, for the Biafran army officers who came into Biafra army from the Nigerian army. Unfortunately, he was not able to get audience with President Obasanjo. So I went to see the Vice President Atiku Abubakar, and then went to see the NSA, who I was working with, to brief him that I had seen the Vice President, and the Vice President had decided to take it up. Now, the Vice President now gave me his aircraft and told me to make a reservation at the Hilton Transcorp for a presidential suite for 1 week, and then gave me his aircraft to go to Enugu and bring Dim Chukwemeka Ojukwu to Abuja. That at least within that period, he will get an audience for Dim Emeka Ojukwu. All I did, I went to Enugu, brought him after first he knew I was coming. We came back together. It was in the presidential suite. Yeah. And 3 days after, President Obasanjo was very happy to receive Emeka Ojukwu. And Emeka said to him, he calls President Obasanjo Omoba. You know. So he said to him, Omoba, we've all come back together as one. I want you to please do me a favor. The Nigerian army officers who went with me to Biafra, please help us ensure that they are formally retired and pensioned. Fortunately, President Obasanjo accepted Dim's request, and it came to pass. That's how you saw that Nigerian officers who were in Biafra as Biafran army officers were now formally retired and pensioned. The same thing now happened to the Nigerian police officers who now became Biafran police officers. So if the vice president did not initiate the move to get that meeting to take place between President Obasanjo and Dim Chukwemeka Ojukwu, this would not have happened. Now, when they had finished discussion and President Obasanjo had agreed, he now said to me, look, Ojelibo, I want you to take me to the vice president and let me go and thank him. So I told the vice president. The vice president said no, that he will come to the Transcorp Hilton. Not Emeka Ojukwu won't come to him. He's just his vice president, but he will, Emeka, no, it's disrespectful. And he said I should come and bring him. So I went, accompanied him, and we went to see him to come at the Transcorp, where he, the vice president, was the one who made the accommodation available for him. So we had a good time with the vice president. Emeka thanked him and everything. So he said anytime Emeka Ojukwu wanted to come to Abuja, I should let him know that he would be very, very happy to host him at all times. And that's the relationship, and that's what people are enjoying today. I mean, some of those officers are still alive, some of them are no longer alive, including Dim himself.
Brilliant. Very detailed. Now, what promise does an Atiku presidency hold for Nigerians, particularly in Igbo, the Southeast, at this time when the agitation is very high?
Well, you see, we approached Atiku Abubakar. We have a group, former governors, former senators, former ministers. We normally meet here. We approached him and told him, look, we have been an ally of yours over the years, but now the Southeast is yearning that it is your turn to produce the president of Nigeria, Nigerian president of Southeast extraction, anyway. And he said, okay, fine. He will not be an obstacle to that. And we were having regular meetings with him here, in this same living room, sharing ideas with him. And that was why he was the only presidential aspirant who said, look, if the party zoned the office to the Southeast, he will support the Southeast, financially and otherwise.
He says so?
Yes, he said so.
That he will step down his ambition?
That he will support the Southeast. It was very clear. It was not it was quite clear. There was no ambiguity at all about that statement.
Who were around when he said it? On what occasion?
I said he came here and met us. Well, professionalism also was there. Okwinwood was there. Achiko Denwa was there. Onyema Ojukwu was there. Dube Moyan was there. We had about 6 meetings with him here. He was the only aspirant who made that statement. I had wished the other aspirants did the same. It would have influenced the zoning committee. However, we've passed that stage now. Now, yesterday before he traveled to Plateau, and I saw him, as soon as I finished with him, he entered his car and went to the airport and headed out for Plateau and then Lagos. The truth is, like I said, when I met him in a company of other businessmen from the Southeast who were very close friends of his, many of them. I was just a peripheral friendship running a peripheral friendship with Atiku at that time. So, all I'm saying that those of us who are in politics met Atiku with other Igbos before politics. Atiku will normally arrive in Igbo land on the 24th of December to spend Christmas with his Igbo friends. And those ones will invite us for a luncheon. It will be 24th, 25th, 26th, at least on 27th. Annually. It was an annual ritual. So, those of us who are in politics with him today, like I said, met with him and got close to him only recently, so to speak. So he has friends who are opinion molders and opinion leaders in the Southeast. These are people who walk into his bedroom. These are people who walk into his bedroom. He is our in-law. He is married to our sister, Jennifer, with 3 children. Igbos have a saying, Ogonye Buchie, that your in-law is like your God. That's a common Igbo saying. So we cannot now say we don't recognize that aspect. And he has tremendous trust. If he gives, his personal doctor, Azu Ndukwe, has been with him now for how many years? Over 30 years. He's everywhere with him. A man whose personal doctor is from the Southeast. How else can you explain it? In my own case, for the past 4 years, I have been Chairman Board of Trustees, Pro-Chancellor, Chairman Governing Council of the American University of Iowa, where he's the founder. You saw here when I was telling Professor Gidado that we have a Governing Council meeting on the 26th. All those 3 positions roll into one. And whatever I say is endorsed by him. Whatever I do, he says, well, look, Ojukwu, I told you to go and run the place. I've never had any cause to have a misunderstanding with him running the university. So, there are so many things that people will look at to be able to say, you know something, this is somebody we can trust. Some people will say, oh, why didn't you leave the PDP when they did not zone the presidency to the Southeast? Oh my goodness. The PDP where I've been special advisor again and again. PDP where I've been senator. PDP where I've been national secretary. And I'm not used to playing politics of jumping from party to party. I met the founding fathers. I played politics with the founding fathers and Second Republic. I met the Great Zik. I met the Sage Awo. I met Shehu Shagari. I met Ibrahim Waziri. I met Aminu Kano. Met Tunji Braithwaite. There was discipline in political parties.